A new generation of aeroplane began to appear in the skies as World War II was winding down. It was faster than any interceptor of its day and could theoretically leap the Atlantic Ocean in a single bound, all while remaining undetectable by radar. It wasn't a British or American plane, though. It had a Nazi flavor. The Horten brothers conceived of this innovative yet terrifying aircraft designed to turn the tables on the Allies, and even had the nefarious end goal of bombing New York City in mind. Here we have the Horten A-18, the first stealth bomber that was never built. The planned code name, the America Bomber, wasn't just a secret Nazi plane. It was part of a larger strategy to invade and conquer the United States. The initial plan was to bombard East Coast cities in an effort to force the United States to focus its defense efforts at home and to whet the public's appetite for war. Included in the plan was a list of 21 potential targets, most of which were Eastern United States aircraft manufacturers, for the purpose of bringing down the American Air Force. Yet its roots go back even further, to a time before the United States entered the war, and even to World War II. In 1938, the firm presented the Me-264, a new design of plane that could fly to the United States, in the hopes of landing a massive contract with the Nazi government. Hermann Göring, head of the Luftwaffe, criticizes the new German Air Force for having too few bombers. The project didn't really get going until the war was well underway, around 1942. A project plan titled America Bomber was drafted and distributed to several senior officers in April of that year. Launching from the Azoria Islands, it is believed that the He-277, the Junkers Ju-390, and the Messerschmitt 264 derivative would be sufficient for the mission. The war's duration, however, rendered each of these aircraft designs useless. To facilitate a non-stop bombing run from Berlin to New York City without refueling, the RNL issued a requirement for a new type of aircraft in 1944, a strategic bomber with an 11,000-kilometer range and a bomb load of 4,000 kilograms. The leading German aircraft manufacturers quickly got to work and submitted proposals. However, none of these plans were adequate to prevent the Nazis from fortifying the Azoria Islands with a battalion and using them as a forward bombing base. There was a second revision to try and fix things, but it wasn't much better than the first. However, the Horten brothers and their flying wings were overlooked during the selection process for aircraft designers. The German high command was totally wrong. The Hortens were confident they could fix the flaws in the design, and began planning their new long-range bomber over the holiday break in 1944. They'd whipped up a first draft complete with rough calculations for things like fuel crew ornaments, landing gear, and bomb load. With its entire surface area devoted to producing lift, a flying wing aircraft had many advantages over its predecessors. This aircraft has the potential to be 20 to 30% more fuel efficient, allowing for longer flights. The smaller radar profile it could achieve thanks to the flying wings would make it the first stealth bomber in history. For their last design, the Horten brothers settled on the number 18, featuring a length of 19 meters, a wingspan of 40 meters, and a wing area of 150 meters squared. This aircraft would accommodate a crew of 4 and be enormous for its time. These 6 Jumo 004 bits turbojets would power this aerial bomber. The plane has a top speed of 900 kilometers per hour, but can travel at a more leisurely 750 kilometers per hour during cruise, which is nearly twice as fast as Allied planes of the time, making intercepting them nearly impossible. Though its official range was never established, its 4,000-kilogram bomb load was thought to make transatlantic trips relatively painless. The brothers were able to incorporate a topside defensive turret and forward-facing guns of some description, despite the constraints of weight and speed. The whole plane would be built with a wooden framework and carbon-based glue, making it even less detectable by radar. By 25 February 1945, the brothers had presented their completed design to the public in Berlin. Questions about the concept's viability and whether or not it could be built were posed to the original 5 aircraft companies during the presentation. They quickly realized that the flying wing could outperform their earlier concepts. When they asked if they could proceed with the aircraft, they were told that it would be constructed in conjunction with the Junkers firm. The brothers were well endowed, well versed, and had access to cutting-edge manufacturing technology. This miraculous bomber never got off the ground. Why not? Remember that the two brothers were more of a gamble back then. Moreover, the Junkers Company's supposedly brilliant minds were so unconvinced by their newfangled flying wing concept that they delayed implementation of the approved design until the engineers had a chance to make significant adjustments. The primary modification was the installation of a rudder and a massive vertical fin on the plane's tail. However, the extra drag would reduce the aircraft's range and make it less maneuverable. The committee also proposed relocating the engines to the outside of the wing and strapping them underneath in parcels, making them more accessible for servicing, which would make things draggier and cut the range below Atlantic distances even further. With a movable cockpit, 4 engines, no turret, and landing gear that didn't jettison, the final design, the 18 bits, represented little of Horton's original vision. However, approval was granted, and construction on a new, lengthy concrete runway was scheduled to begin in the fall of 1945. Then why didn't we see it when it was all laid out and ready to go? In any case, Germany was ultimately defeated in the war. The concept became increasingly untenable as attacks on German factories and air bases increased, as did espionage, ongoing developments, and radar technology. Additionally, Hitler was directing the remaining war supplies toward an ever-increasing array of fantastical miracle weapons as the conflict drew to a close. And the H.XVIII was sadly left off the final cut. We simply didn't have the resources, the manpower, or the drive to maintain growth throughout the era. Before we ever saw this beast take to the skies, the war was already lost. We can now see how far ahead of the curve the two brothers were with their design thanks to modern computer modeling techniques. With its proven speed and stealth, the Horten 18 was destined for great success in its missions. Thank goodness it was never developed. The loss of life would have been catastrophic, even if it did not compromise the purity of aviation. But if these flying wing bombers had been available sooner, it would have changed the course of the war. Even crazier Nazi plans would have been possible with a few more years to develop the concept. Knowing the history of the H.XVIII's development, we can say that the Horton spirit lives on in American engineering, which has continued to use flying wing concepts like the B-2 stealth bomber. Hope you like this information on the most powerful bomber ever built by the Nazis. Leave a comment and let us know. Hit the like button to encourage our efforts and subscribe to our channel for many more warplane documentaries. See you in the next mind-blowing video. Peace out.